Hi, good morning. My name's Doug. I'm at Jammin Auto and Tire in St. Louis, Missouri, and we're going to talk about something we're seeing more and more of, and that is what we call direct injection. So we're going to kind of educate you on what direct injection is and the problems that the manufacturers are now facing with these vehicles. What we're going to do is show you real quickly. I'm going to show you this picture. Before, what happens is inside the cylinder, this is your piston and your spark plug, and this is your exhaust valve and your intake valve. Now this right here is a fuel injector, and what happens is over time is when this fuel injector sprays, gasoline fuel that you get at the gas station has cleaners in it, and it would keep this intake valve clean. Now what is it keeping it clean from? Well, we have a thing called PCV, positive crankcase ventilation, and EGR, exhaust gas recirculation, which means they're recirculating exhaust gas and crankcase vapors through this, and what's happening is this valve will get clogged or carboned up. This fuel injector, though, however, would spray on it and keep it clean. Well, what the manufacturers have done is they've actually moved this fuel injector directly into the cylinder. Awesome idea, very peppy, fuel economy, very efficient way to distribute the fuel. The problem is this intake valve is no longer getting that cleaning from the fuel injector. So what is happening on, and we're going to talk about what vehicles here in just a little bit, but this intake valve is now getting carboned up. Now this right here I'm going to show you is a brand new intake valve. It's never even been in an engine, and notice how clean and shiny it is. I happened to be at a machine shop this morning and grabbed this from them. This one's starting to get carboned up, but that one's not bad. But what we want you to see is on some of these direct injection engines, this is an intake valve right here. It's actually my service advisor's truck, and what he has done is what's called an induction flush, and he has kept this intake valve clean by doing these induction flushes on a regular basis. However, that is the valve in one that has not had its induction flushes done. I'm going to show you this chemical right here. This is from a company called BG. And what they do is this can right here, we actually pour this into a canister, we vaporize it, and we spray it down the intake of your engine. And what we're doing is this is basically a carbon dissolver, and we're trying to keep this from happening. What's happening in this picture is this intake valve is getting so carboned up that now it's not closing and sealing, and we're having a slight misfire issue with this vehicle. Now this vehicle happens to be a Ford Transit van, and it's a 3.7 V6. The valve that I showed you over there was the 2.7 V6. So what we're trying to show you is how we can keep this from happening to your engine by using the BG chemical, and doing that every 10, 15, 20,000 miles. Kind of expensive, but it's going to be a lot cheaper than, well, we're going to be around $1,800 to fix this vehicle. At this point, might go up from there. And we're going to get down inside of here, and we're going to do what's called walnut blasting. We're going to get to where that port and that intake valve is. And we're going to use this machine we just purchased it, called the Automotive Walnut Blaster. And what we're going to do is we're going to use pulverized walnuts, and we're going to actually go in there and we're going to blast this carbon off of this intake valve. And then the thing has a vacuum, and we suck it all back out. This is the procedure that you're going to see more and more on these direct injection engines. And what I do is I want to cover some of the vehicles that are direct injection. So for example, Ford, many of the Ecoboost engines in the F-150, Mustang, Explorer. Chevrolet has direct injection engines. You'll find those in the Camaro, Equinox, Traverse, Silverado. Honda, Pilot, and the Odyssey have direct injection engines. Toyota, they have what's called a 2.0 dynamic force engine. That's in the Corolla. Volkswagen has TSI engines, which is direct injection. It's in their Golf and Jetta. Audi is using a TFSI engine, which has direct injection. Also, other brands like BMW, Hyundai, Kia, Nissan, they're all using direct injection. The reason we're using direct injection is because we're trying to get better and better fuel economy. The vehicle manufacturers are penalized every year if their vehicles don't get a good enough fuel economy. And so the manufacturer's doing anything to get better and better fuel economy. If you recall when we talked yesterday about how this injector is now inside the cylinder, just so you know, some of the newer vehicles after like 2020, the manufacturers got smart, and now they'll have two injectors. They'll actually have one direct injector here, and they'll have another one outside. So they've realized this problem, and they're doing stuff to fix it, but that is actually like 20 and after, they'll have that extra injector, but the ones before that, we're still going to have this problem.